Welcome, everybody. It's very exciting seeing all the different names appear, getting admitted to the conference. It feels like we're old friends already. I'd see, oh, that was so and so who said that, and so and so, and there's the dreamer, and there's the person who said that, and of course, yesterday I was working on all of the input that you contributed during the work sessions, and it was an amazing privilege to be listening in as this technology allows us to do, to you talking to each other about your experiences, and having to really go through it and see how it all connects, all the different groups that we're working on similar subjects. We're coming up with some similar insights and some really fresh ones. And even though some of the insights you could say, yeah, you could read this in a book somewhere, The Art of Collaborative Networking, there's still a freshness to it because you began by looking at your own experiences and remembering the good and bad experiences of networking. And so this is not just coming from your head, but from your heart, from your experiences, what actually worked and what didn't work for you. So I'm just going to take you through what we did over here to group all your ideas. And if Jonathan, you could share the first screen, The Art of Collaborative Networking. And you can see here that what's interesting to me is how this was built. So basically what we did was to put all of the words onto the page with no colors and no bubbles and no mountains in the background or anything like that, and just began to find where they sorted and collected together. And then we went back and started naming them. And what I kind of loved is that there were a lot of words beginning with C, and I just love alliteration. So I was particularly looking for that. And some of these are slightly stretched, as you might guess. But essentially, all of these words were from you, and that's what we worked with. It's a work in progress. We didn't get, we didn't get the feedback from all of the groups, so there's still more to put into this. And as you look at it, we'll be hopefully looking for your feedback and saying, you need to use a different word here, or I need to add something in. So if you want to do that right now as I talk, put your comments in the chat. If you look at it later, because it's on the website, you can go and download them and look at them more carefully. And make sure that you give us the feedback so this really represents your thoughts. So this one, The Art of Collaborative Networking, was the one that all the groups worked on, whatever their subtopic was, and came up with just a few things I want to pick out. So connecting, gather collaborators in a new sense of community. And there's a very proactive feel to that. And that was definitely what was coming out from what you were saying. That works is when people are invited in and you felt invited in specifically for what you had to offer. Going to the complementarity, what worked really well was when the 2 of you or the 4 of you in the room or the 6 of you in the room felt they each had a unique thing to offer. And that meant there wasn't any competitiveness in the room. And I thought, and somebody mentioned this about the diversity of thought, and when you recognize that and embrace it, suddenly the whole thing of, am I better than so-and-so, disappears. And I like that because it felt like a new angle on diversity. But I know that some people think that competitiveness is a good thing. I think that that narrative could be challenged a little bit in the light of what you're saying, but we may need to get these words right. Coordination obviously was a big thing in any collaboration. Communication comes up in everything, as you may know. The multi-directional communication, frequent constructive criticism, and above all, listening, open-minded listening was brought up many times. That makes such a difference. And the whole idea of everybody sharing, everybody listening, which was reassuring to us, because we just have that commitment to this process, is that we get everybody to share, and then we give everybody a chance to listen. And that's what you're doing now, listening to each other in this conversation. The under trust and confidence, I put confidence there, meaning have confidence, have trust, knowing they are friendly and approachable. If you go into a room not knowing that, you have a sort of a thing about you which could be seen as off-putting. So if you go in knowing that people will be friendly and approachable, you will go in with enthusiasm and trust. And that was highlighted there, many of you in your experiences. And just going back onto that gray side at the bottom left, how to fail, one of the big things is be suspicious. Imagine that everyone is out to steal your work, and then you're going to make sure you don't really collaborate openly. Maintain the hierarchical power, organize large conferences with few opportunities to meet and interact. There's a great comment. Scientists are not known for good communication, and the person who wrote that said, a lot of us are on the spectrum, including me. And I thought, well, this is brilliant. This is the diversity that's there is just such a precious thing. Of course, in any venture like this, commitment, tenacity was a word that somebody came up with, which I thought was brilliant. The continuity of this, it takes work. It's so easy. Like on this mountain, you see people climbing up to the top, on the top right, but at the bottom, they're sliding down. It's a slippery slope. It needs to be cared for. And so then you've got this care thing, supporting, recognizing, appreciating contribution, designing ways to create virtual tea breaks, canapes, and cake. This is our challenge in creating this kind of virtual collaborative thing. The clarity of goals and the endpoints constantly refer back to it. And we, again, it's reassuring to us, we've really asked you to dream. And this whole thing is the last thing we put in here was with a dream for a guide. So connect with a dream for a guide, coordinate with a dream for a guide, care with a dream for a guide. And above all, at the bottom, it says, show up, contribute. That's the key. And then at the center of it all is just never lose the curiosity. Keep learning, keep asking questions. There's no such thing as a silly question. It does create genuine, authentic conversation when you have an authentic question that you really want the answer to. So this is a brilliant, fresh set of alliterative things. Jenny was saying it would be better if they all started with the letter O, because an O is like a circle of collaboration. And I remember from my old hippie days is actually, if you want a really good circle, you have to have a break in it to allow other people in. So the fact that it's a C is absolutely brilliant, because it leaves that space for other people to come in at any time and feel that they are growing the size of the circle. So I love this. I love this, what you came up with from your experiences.
Yeah, I think that for me, I had a chance to pull together some of the insights you have in terms of the fundamental insight about curiosity is your biggest driver. And then if I was to look at the three foundational areas that you've talked about, and if I look about it in terms of your decision, your resources, and your effect, you have a decision to action, which I think is the part about commitment, complementarity, and clarity, that when we have commitment and we are complementarily using our resources, if that's a word, we have clarity and we have that effect. In the area of trust, you have confidence, contribution, and care, that when those three come together, that we decide to use our confidence to make our commitments, we create care together. And then finally, the one that was interesting was engagement, The connection between when you communicate and you coordinate, you create connection, which creates that engagement. And when all these three threes are in work and harmony together, they land right squarely on that curiosity as one of the biggest driving forces of your extraordinary ability to marshal resources, make decisions, and have an effect.
And Jenny's got a lovely diagram which we might try and share, which she's just been working on here. So let's go to the next slide. Make your comments in the chat, please, if anything occurs to you, any insights or suggestions for changing. So I'm going to start talking about the next slide, even though you can't see it. It has a number of projects on it that are related to interdisciplinary collaboration projects. And you, as you know, in the groups yesterday, you were coming up with your ideas for initiatives and projects that would make this thing happen. There it is. This is definitely a work in progress. We're going to be collating anything that we hear which seems to be you saying, I think there should be a project on this. And we will then have a summary picture which allows you to see, okay, look at us. We've created this broad, inclusive strategic plan with all these projects, and I know where I want to sign up to. So what you've got here is the open access project. You're going for free exchange, no more paywall barriers, no MTAs or NDAs, no more invitation-only conferences. There's quite a lot of feisty energy going into that, saying, let's look at what's happening in the world today and stop this NDA rubbish. We need to share and get together. Being an ex-hippie, I'm really, or still a hippie, I'm very excited by these kinds of things. You may not be, so you just need to come back and say, come on, calm down, Tim. Please make it sound a little bit less radical. But I think you are radicals, actually, and dreamers. The other one is proactive interdisciplinary communication project. Create communication, deliberately create communication that's meaningful to non-experts, people who are experts in other fields but not yours, meaningful to the general public, have embraced the wisdom of ignorance. So if someone doesn't know about your subject, bring them in and say, look, I need to talk to you because you know nothing about my subject and I need to find a way to talk and listen to you. More collaborative documents. Somebody said, my supervisor told me not to get more people involved because there would be more names on my paper. And I think that what you're saying is get more names on your paper. Like, be ashamed if you haven't got 25 names on your research paper, because it just shows you were not being collaborative. You can see I'm exaggerating things for effect, I think, but maybe not. Then there was a whole section, the blue section on the right, lower right, interdisciplinary opportunities project. You standing up and saying, we want workplace shadowing, placements in other labs, exchange opportunities, more events like this, funding for research, travel, organize early career events at all meetings that happen. And that's something that all of you could do. You could just say, okay, guys, I'm coming to your conference. I want to have a session that's just for early career professionals in this field. And then to the multidisciplinary dating service project. A number of you talked about that, how you could proactively make serendipity happen, making chances, you know, that you make your own chances. Well, you could make the chance to meet happen. Got to figure out how to do that. And one of the ways is you just create this multidisciplinary dating service, matching the gaps in knowledge with expertise. So, and then the other thing was, let's go to sciences that are not we wouldn't, I don't know about you, but you might not consider science, like social sciences. So get the social sciences in, and other sciences that are completely different in the way that they approach knowledge and research, because the world needs all of that multidisciplinarity. If we go to the next slide, keep putting your thoughts in the chat. And the last one was the second session, was all about influencing policymakers and increasing the dialogue with funders. I've put them all together on one sheet here. This is not about projects. This is about you having your insights about how influence really works in your experience. There was a great person who said, I don't think I've ever been influenced in my life. They said, it's because of my nationality. I haven't been, I'm not going to mention who that was. But it was, maybe that was the secret, because I didn't know I was being influenced. So over there in the yellow areas, it's got, don't try to influence people. If you want to influence people, don't try to influence them. Have empathy with them, trust them that they're listening, relate personally to them, understand their motivations, priorities, and perspectives, engage in open conversation, listen to them, ask them what their dream is. None of this is about influencing them. This is about building a relationship, finding out who they are, aligning yourself with their dreams, their motivations, their anxieties. But do initiate the dialogue, do create policy labs or sandpits, make opportunities to interact with them, and have, when you're going to meet them, have a pre-meeting briefing message you send to them, so they're very well briefed before they meet you. Have the pre-call discussions. You said that, and so did Debbie yesterday, saying you can talk to us anytime. It's just brilliant. It doesn't mean you don't get the funding. Stay current on social media, build your online community, build your visibility, encourage your senior leadership to speak out in the important issues, to be visible and out there. And then over on the purple, use the public. There is if you enlighten the public, you are enlightening voters and funders, and listen to what the voters are saying just as much as politicians. Enable diverse voices to be heard, outreach to different sectors, including, several of you said, talk to the teens, talk to the school children, talk to students. They have a kind of a voice, and it's being listened to these days. And above all, many of you said, hold a big long-term mountaintop vision. This is not something that happens quickly. It happens due to perseverance. Jenny?
I think that's good. I was going to make a fairly flippant comment that influence sounds like influenza, which made me think this whole thing was like a virus. When you get influenced, you get you sort of all notice that it's very catchy when you get influenced.
Down on the bottom left-hand corner, there's a lot of noise there. A lot of people trying to have their opinions heard and trying to influence decisions. So I think the key insight, don't try to be like them. Just connect with people and you will find the thing happens. So very exciting. Thank you, all of you who contributed. It was just brilliant to be able to collate this and build on it.